What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk about using silver as a way to store your cash so you could use the cash for a down payment for a house sometime in the very near future. But really quick, just in case you're new, make sure to subscribe for daily videos. Also subscribe to my second channel, which is my backup channel for exclusive weekly content. Brand new video over there. Go check it out. The link will be in the description. And if you want to help support the channel by getting some DYDSS merchandise, of course, we have some precious metal themed t-shirts and hoodies which are up for grabs, along with a ton of other products, t-shirts, hoodies, even stickers, many of which are raising funds and awareness for different charity organizations. And of course, the brand new Kraken Stackin' t-shirt, hoodie, sticker, and coffee mug, inspired by the beautiful 2-ounce silver Kraken coin. Any and all merchandise can be found by clicking the first link in the description section down below. Thank you in advance. It's more than appreciated. But a couple days ago, I was asked during one of my live streams. For those of you who do not know, I live stream a couple nights a week around 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I was asked on one of my live streams if I think it's a smart idea to put $10,000 into silver just because it's a little bit more difficult to spend. Cash disappears on us. Cash goes away very quickly. Do I think it's a smart idea to put $10,000 into silver so that maybe in a year from now or 2 years from now, that silver can be traded back into cash so the cash could be used for a down payment on a house? That's what I want to talk about today, and I also want everybody to head on down to the comments and let me know what your thoughts on that is. But if you ask 10 different people, you're going to get 10 different answers. And since you're asking for my opinion, that's exactly what I'm going to give you, my opinion. I do not think that's a very good idea. I don't think silver should be used for really anything in the short term. That's just my opinion. The way that I stack, the way that I use my silver and also my gold, it's for the long term. A down payment on the house, that's not really something you're going to be worrying about in the long term. That's something you're going to be worrying about in the short term. Whether it's around maybe this time next year, year and a half, 2 years from now, whatever it is. In my opinion, I view that as short term. That's something in the near future. That's not the distant future. That's only about a year away. And unfortunately, when it comes to silver, the volatility, it goes up, it goes down. There's no telling what silver is going to do. Sure, you could put $10,000 into it, and this time next year, who knows? Maybe the spot price will have doubled by then. It's a possibility. It could happen. Maybe the spot price of silver doesn't really move all that much by the time we get to around this time next year. That's a possibility as well. But it's also important to remember that silver could be chopped in half by this time next year. You never know what silver is going to do, and I would imagine if you're using silver as a tool for the short term, that could lead to some serious heartbreak. Imagine putting $10,000 into silver, and this time next year, you try to cash out and you are only able to get $5,000 for it. That's exactly why I don't view it as something for the short term. I view it for the long term. If I were to put $10,000 into silver today, and this time next year, that $10,000 worth of silver is only worth $5,000 if the spot price were to get chopped in half by around this time next year, would that be heartbreaking? No, because I'm not cashing out this time next year. I plan on doing this for the long term. I plan on doing this for decades and decades and decades, and of course, when the gold to silver ratio gap closes in a little bit, I would ideally like to trade a little bit of silver for a little bit of gold. Speaking of gold, here's another alternative. $10,000 doesn't have to be put into silver. It could be put into gold. This right here is my 10,000 subscriber trophy. Little gold Philharmonic. 1/4 ounce. But with $10,000, you could pick up approximately 5 troy ounces of gold for $10,000. The spot price of gold right now is a little bit under $2,000 an ounce. Rounded up to about $2,000 an ounce, you can get approximately 5 troy ounces of gold. You can get a 5-ounce gold bar. You can get 5 different 1-ounce gold coins. You could do whatever you want. And gold has done an excellent job proving itself to be able to hold its own. Silver fluctuates. Silver goes up, silver goes down. Silver was just recently, just a couple months ago, about $15, $16, $17 an ounce. When not even 10 years ago, it was about $50 an ounce. And shortly after, in March of 2020, when silver had been relatively complacent, stuck in the $16, $17 an ounce range, boom, dropped down below 12 bucks. And over the last couple of months, it's climbed its way up to almost 30. So there's really no telling what silver is going to do or what it can possibly do. I mean, we know, based on history, the numbers that silver can climb to and the numbers silver can fall to. But if you're doing something in the short term, I would imagine that would be a problem. Over an extended period of time, by the time 10, 20, 30 years go by, who cares what silver did in the short term? It's only a matter of what silver has done over the course of all of these years or all of these decades. But this time next year, that's a little bit too short term. Now, do I think it's a smart idea to put the $10,000 into gold instead? In my opinion, and from my perspective, not a financial advisor, nothing on this channel is financial advice. In my opinion, I think it's a smarter idea. I think it's smarter than putting it into silver. If this time next year you're going to be cashing out to use it as a down payment for a house. But truth be told, there's really no telling what gold's going to do either. Like I said, it does a better job holding its own, but short-term thinking, who knows? In my opinion and from my perspective, what I would do, I would personally keep the $10,000 that I plan on spending. I would keep it as cash. Why is that? Because I plan on spending it. I'm going to be putting it towards a house. The dollars that I put into silver and gold, it's not for spending. It's for saving. I consider silver and gold to be wealth preservation for the long term. I do not consider it something to merely hold my cash so that I can spend it next year or 2 years from now. That's not why I'm stacking. In no way, shape, or form does that make sense to me, and I would not do that. If it's cash that I'm going to be using as a down payment for a house, I would keep it as cash. That's just what I would do. Now, like I said before, if you ask 10 different people, you better believe you're going to get 10 different answers. My answer is I think gold is a better alternative if you're going to be doing something around a year from now. But I do believe cash is the best option because cash is for spending and you're planning on spending it. If you ask somebody else, they might tell you silver 100%. Somebody else might tell you that silver is a terrible metal and your eyes should be on gold and gold only. Somebody else might tell you to keep it all in the bank as cash, as currency. Somebody else might tell you to keep it as cash, as currency, but keep it in your possession, not the bank's possession. Somebody else will tell you to invest the $10,000 and generate a little bit of cash flow. Somebody else might tell you that cash won't even exist a year from now. And somebody else will tell you,
what are you doing buying a house for? You should be renting.
Point being is that everyone's going to give you a different answer. You asked me what my opinion is, and that's what I'm going to give you. So, my opinion in conclusion is I wouldn't work with silver for the short term. I'm working with silver for the long term, but if there was something that I wanted to do a year from now or 2 years from now to propel me in a different direction, I wouldn't really be doing it with silver. I don't think that's a wise idea. It could be. It could very well go up in value, and at the end of the day, a year from now, who knows? The $10,000 could be worth $20,000. There's really no way of telling. It's really rolling the dice if you're looking at it from a short-term perspective, which is something that I refuse to do when it comes to the precious metals. I do not know what silver or gold are going to do in the short term. I do not care what they are going to do in the short term. So for you, if you're saving up, or if you have $10,000 saved up that you plan on using as a down payment for a house, in my opinion and from my perspective, it makes the most sense to me to keep it as cash, because what's the sense of putting your cash into a metal just to take the metals and trade it back for cash? You might end up getting gypped a little bit when it comes to the premiums. If you're buying in, you're going to pay a higher premium, and oftentimes when you part ways with your silver, depending on who the buyer is, you might get less of a premium, assuming that spot price is right around the same. It could definitely be up. Spot price and premiums could definitely both be up around this time next year, but they could both be down as well. There's really no way of telling, so that's not what I would do. I understand that cash disappears very easily. Cash is very easy to spend. But if you lock it up in a safe and don't keep it in your pocket, if you don't go to the store with it, I can't imagine you having much of a problem. Or whether you want to use the bank or whether you want to use a safe, whatever you want to do. I think cash for the short term is the way to go. I consider cash to be a short-term solution to short-term problems. What is your short-term problem? Not having the house that you want just yet. And what is the short-term solution? The cash for the down payment. Short-term solutions to short-term problems. Long-term solutions to long-term problems, that's what I go for when it comes to the silver and the gold, because what's the long-term problem? The biggest issue, I would say, is inflation. Not to say that silver and gold is entirely going to save my life, but it is typically referred to as a hedge against inflation. Some have even gone as far as to say that silver and gold are inflation-proof. Cash, on the other hand, not exactly the case. So long-term, cash doesn't make very much sense to me. But short-term, a year from now, I think that's what the cash should be for. But that's just my opinion. That's just my perspective. I'm curious what everybody thinks, because as I always say, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. I hope that you make your own decisions based off of doing your own research and coming to your own conclusion based off of what makes the most sense to you. But everybody watching, I don't just do this for entertainment purposes. I also do it to initiate a conversation, so I'm hoping this can spark a discussion. Let me know in the comments. What are your thoughts? Everything and anything I shared today regarding silver and the gold. If you were in this person's shoes, what would you do? If you were, regardless of if you're selling your house or maybe you're renting and you've been saving up to put money down for a house and you have the $10,000 saved up, would you keep it as cash? If you were just going to be making the move around this time next year? Or would you put it into silver? With your fingers crossed, hoping that around this time next year, since you're forced to put a time frame on it, that spot price will be up. Or at least right around the same, so that you can get your $10,000 back. Or would you rather put it into gold? Maybe you think gold does a better job holding its value. Maybe that's something you've done in the past. See, for me personally, I plan on doing something kind of similar to the person who asked this question, except for me it's going to be more long-term. As I say all the time, if and when the gold to silver ratio gap closes in a little bit, I'll trade a little bit of silver for a little bit of gold. Reduce the weight, reduce the bulk, preserve the high silver spot price, and trade what I like to refer to as the opportunity metal for what I like to refer to as the powerhouse metal, the ultimate form of wealth preservation in my opinion. So I trade my dollars for silver, trade some silver for gold, and a couple years, couple decades down the road, hopefully I'll be able to trade some of that gold for maybe some land. So in a way, we're kind of on the same page, but I'm looking years and years and years and years down the road, and you're looking probably maybe 1 year down the road. So depending on the time frame, I think there's a different solution. Like I said, short-term solution to short-term problems, long-term solution to long-term problems. But that's just my opinion, just from my perspective. I'm curious. Everybody, head on down to the comments and let me know what are your thoughts. If you guys enjoyed today's video, please hit that like button. If you guys like me, make sure to subscribe. New videos every single day, 365 days a year. Also subscribe to my second channel, which is my backup channel for exclusive weekly content. Brand new video over there. Go check it out. The link will be in the description. Trying really hard to hit 2,000 subscribers. Just hit 1,000. I appreciate that. Got a brand new video dropping tonight. And if you want to help support the channel in the biggest possible way, please consider getting yourself some DYDSS merchandise. Of course, we have some precious metal themed t-shirts and hoodies, which are up for grabs, along with a ton of other products, t-shirts, hoodies, even stickers, many of which are raising funds and awareness for different charity organizations. And of course, the brand new Kraken Stackin' t-shirt, hoodie, sticker, and coffee mug inspired by the 2-ounce Silver Kraken coin, which, by the way, is helping us raise a little bit of funds and awareness for ocean cleanup charity organizations at no additional cost to you. Comes out of my pocket, not yours. Any and all merchandise can be found by clicking the first link in the description section down below. Thank you in advance. It's more than appreciated. But once again, I want you guys to head on down to the comments and let me know if you had $10,000 that you knew for a fact that you were going to use for a down payment to get a house. Would you keep the $10,000 as cash, as currency, as fiat, 10,000 fiat dollars? Assuming that it was going to be around this time next year, would you put it into silver, which in my opinion is kind of rolling the dice? Would you put it into gold, which also fluctuates a little bit, but typically does a better job holding its own? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. And remember, don't you dare stop smiling. Peace.